you very much, sir. Chairman, sir. And thank you very much, President, sir. And the support and inspiration provided by A.N. Raman, sir, and MGK, sir, who have been my mentor for all the past 25-30 years. Whatever I am here, I am standing before you, it is because of my one strength, which is being a CMA. I want to inspire the young students. I have seen a lot of young students here. One of my team member is also here, who is preparing now. Okay. I would like to bring one point which was constantly told by the two previous speakers: be future ready. The future for a cost accountant is not in preparing cost sheets alone. Please learn latest techniques like, say, Power BI and Tableau. So in one sentence, I would like to finish this and go on to my presentation. Okay. So let us look at what is strategy and what it is in healthcare sector and what is the role of a cost accountant in this. So there are 3 dots. We are going to connect these 3 dots very quickly. Okay. So this is a strategy hierarchy which we are all familiar with. Now let us quickly connect it with the healthcare scenario. Okay, one is at the country level, we have the Ayushman Bharat program, Jan Arogya Yojana, which is launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. There is a huge funding which is happening, and I am not willing to put a number to it because the number keeps changing. It is in excess of some 20,000 crores. So the funding is going to be in a new way actually. It is from the taxpayers' money, but the service will be rendered by either a private corporate hospital or the government hospital, where the government will make payment for the services rendered. This is what it is in general. And a similar mechanism is already followed in UK through NHS. Lots of charity hospitals were there in UK. They were all brought under one umbrella called NHS. That is what it is about. And the funding for NHS is from the taxpayers' money of UK. We all very fondly recalled that our Indian origin person, Mr. Rishi Sunak, who was previously the Chancellor of Exchequer, now he has been elevated to the position of the Prime Minister of the country. So, government of UK is actually funding this national program on health. And we are all very familiar with the US model where we have heard about Obamacare and all that. Okay. So what tools and techniques they use for budgeting? Because you are going to do a budget for billions of dollars or pounds or thousands of crores of rupees. There should be a basis. What is the basis? These are the tools that we use. We all have got recovered from the big wave of COVID. There was a first wave, second wave, fourth wave, and so on. And who has funded this recovery? Either through production and distribution of vaccines free of cost by the government, or there were lots of COVID centers where people were treated. So that is what we talk about community healthcare. 3 years back, if I talked about community healthcare, nobody would have understood in India. Now we are all familiar because either one of our family member or ourselves or somebody known to us have seen what COVID is. So that is called community medicine. And leave alone pandemics, what about normal healthcare setbacks or preventive medicine or diagnosis or treatment? That all depends on the severity of disease. Although it is one word, you can write volumes on that. I will try to do some justice by giving a little more detail because this one word may not mean much to all of us. Now let us go on to the next level, which is at the company level or SBA level. we are all familiar with the customer level profitability analysis, which is a report which is generated by the cost accountants of any organization, and the pricing decisions using dynamic pricing, not just cost-based pricing. So these are some of the very good tools which the cost accountant uses. Then we have the departmental level cost workout, profits and pricing. So this will give us at costing at SKU level. So it is basically ground up, not top down. Okay. So somebody who is getting into the any healthcare organization as a CMA, they can do it bottoms up. Okay, this is what strategy means in this context. We would have read this interesting novel during our school days or colleges, Alice in Wonderland. So Alice walks in the forest, and the cat, Cheshire cat, is sitting on the tree. It is asking, "Where are you going?" She is not sure. If you are not sure, then you can't reach. That is the answer given by this cat. So strategy is actually setting the direction of what we want to be, and it is not set by somebody who is at the operating level, it is set with the top management. Okay, let us now quickly look at what some great people in strategic management have to say about strategy. We are deliberately choosing a given path to deliver something. Okay. What is deliberately choosing? There are various courses of action. You are choosing one course of action and you are very convinced about that action, that route, whereby you want to achieve something. Okay, what does it mean in, okay, what Porter has said is not everybody, but what does it mean in healthcare context is the connect which you want to bring here in this slide. The top management can choose 2 or 3 strategies. Either you can work as a single specialty hospital, or you can go in for a multi-specialty, or either you can go in for a very basic level technology, or you can go for a high-end technology. Okay, you have a number of examples in the market. You can think about, say, Shankar Netralaya or Rajan Eye Care, who are concentrating on ophthalmology only, or you can look at a hospital called Sundrapandian, Bone and Joint. They are specializing in ortho only. There are Healthcare Global, they specialize in oncology only, or you have other corporate players and government players, or the charity hospitals like say CMC Windows, who cater to tertiary care. Either you can be in one geography or you can be in many places. These are the strategies. Okay. Now let us look at what Robert Kaplan and Norton say about strategy. What you intend to create, or how you intend to create value for your shareholders. By shareholders, we can construe it as stakeholders, and how it is different for every organization. Okay. What does it denote in this context of healthcare? If you are to, we just recall the one line from the previous slide. We are talking about either high-end healthcare or no frills, value for money. If you are going to have high-end healthcare, you can go in for, say, molecular diagnostics, which is a high-end treatment, high-end diagnostics. You can have, instead of conventional surgery, you can have a robotic surgery. Instead of using conventional implants, you can have 3D manufactured implants, where the cost is very high, but also the clinical outcome is very high. It all depends on what the customer wants at what price point. Okay. So I'll deliberate a little more on clinical outcomes in the subsequent slide. Now let us move on from what we talk about strategy with respect to healthcare. Okay, if we are going to adopt a strategy, it is not like a cakewalk. It is going to be full of challenges. What are those challenges? And how a cost accountant can add value in implementing this strategy. This is what we are talking about. For any disease, it has different degrees of severity. A person who is, say, 40 years of age may have a bypass surgery because of some heart block. A person who is having, who is of age of say 75 or 80, with so many comorbid conditions like high diabetes for maybe 20-30 years, hypertension, kidney disease, he also may have a need to have a bypass surgery. But the cost of treatment is going to vary significantly between an otherwise healthy person and a person who is having a lot of complications. The variation is not just 5% or 10%, it will go up to 50%. Okay, so why a comorbid condition is requiring higher end treatment? It is because many specialists have to attend to the patient. They need much more diagnostics. They need much more medicines. First of all, before you do the surgery, you have to control his BP. Then you have to control his diabetes. Then only you have to start the treatment. If the patient is having a kidney trouble, he has to be dialyzed. Suddenly you cannot do dialysis. You have to put a jugular and start the jugular dialysis and so on. Okay. And what about the length of SKUs? There are thousands of DRG code. DRG code is nothing but diagnosis related group. It is nothing but the description of one particular disease in a given condition. There are thousands of DRGs. Supposing if a hospital is treating about, say, 2 lakh or 3 lakh patients in a year, if you are having thousands of DRG codes for, if you apply this Pareto, there may be some diseases which are accounting for 80% of the population, whereas only the 20% will be accounted for the remaining. So sometimes this Pareto's law is being challenged. If you try to put the 80% patients in the bucket, you will be covering only 20% of the diseases. So that gives a lot of challenge for the cost accountant to arrive at the cost. Because if you get a say 10 patient load for one disease, that too with various degrees of severity, it is difficult to arrive at a standard cost. This is a challenge which I am talking about. And if you look at the number of medical specialties involved, major specialty itself will be more than 20 or 30. So that many medical departments are there. Okay, and the brand preference between 2 or 3 sets of doctors are also very differing. So according to the brand preference or alternatives available, the cost also is significantly varying. The same surgeries were done by 2 or 3 different sets of doctors for the same medical condition, the cost will vary. And in a typical manufacturing industry, the CEO or the MD of the company will be able to set the direction of the company, and they will be able to steer the energies of the company in a given direction. But in healthcare scenario, every doctor has his own practice, his own way of working, his own style of functioning. So it is you will not be able to enforce something like you do for an employee in the case of a doctor, because doctor is an independent consultant and their certificate of practice depends on they are responsible for the patient's lives. So whatever management accountant or SBU head determines, it is difficult to convince so many doctors because everybody will have a different point of view. So these are the typical challenges which are there in healthcare strategy. Then these are the other complications which are coming from patient side. A patient will go from a neighborhood doctor, he will get treated. If it is not getting cured, he will go to a hospital which is referred by his doctor, which is not probably a super specialty hospital. It may be a neighborhood hospital. He will take a treatment, then finally land up in a tertiary care hospital. So the continuity of care will not be the same for the patient. So the diagnosis sometimes may get delayed, and by the time the disease would have aggravated. And after getting the surgery or a treatment done, the patient will be going back to his native place, and the continuity of care will be in the hands of different entities and different doctors. So this is one challenge which is being faced by the healthcare organizations. And we have regulations of the pricing because of public policy and equity. We all would have seen that during COVID period, the COVID vaccination prices capped at a given level. The cost of treatment per day was also capped. And all the time we have a price cap on blood products. So pricing regulations are also there. Even if the cost of treatment is more than the price, still the organization is supposed to comply with that and bear the price. Okay. So if you look at the supply chain, it is more global. If you look at any patient's final bill, if the final bill is say 3 lakh rupees, about some 80,000 or 90,000 or 1 lakh will be payments made to the doctors, including the subjects and anesthetists. And another 1/3 will be probably going to the, for all the bought out items like pharmacy items and implants and other surgical devices, which are imported either directly or indirectly through Indian JVs. And something like around 30 to 40% of the patient bill will be for the services rendered by the hospital, which is basically room service, operation theatre and various diagnostic services, after deducting the consumables that we use, which is imported. So if you put a price cap on the treatment on the hospital without a price cap on all these input raw materials or the doctor fee, it is like putting some 1,000